Howdy, and welcome back to Planet Coaster, where we continue working on the western town to make the area feel fuller and more cohesive. Maybe you're wondering, where are the beauty shots of the sci-fi area? Well, let's just say that when I started the game, I remembered to take them, but once I was in the game, I totally forgot. I'll try to remember in the next episode. But now back to the video. As you can see, I like to use existing buildings and copy them. However, to make sure it's not too obvious, I try to adjust them a bit so it's not a 100% copy and paste job. That's exactly what I did with this building. I enlarged it, giving it a completely different look. Since a sheriff is still missing in town, it's time to build the sheriff's office. Right next to it, I'm placing another standard vanilla building, but I'm giving it a slight recolor. That yellow shade is already pretty common around here, so a little variety won't hurt. Since this corner looks pretty empty and the vanilla buildings don't really fit, I had the idea to extend an existing workshop building with another structure. This way, I can fill the gap while keeping things stylistically consistent. I hope the final result looks good and blends in nicely with the rest of the building. Right now, the building might still look unspectacular, but I'm trying to capture the existing style and replicate it in the new structure. That includes the terrace surrounding the building, as well as the balcony that wraps around it. It might still be missing a few details, but what do you think about it? I think that despite my somewhat less creative approach, I still managed to expand the building without it being obvious that it was extended, if you know what I mean. And now, to wrap up the episode before we move on to the bigger preparations. The terrain is being adjusted for the expansion of the western town Dusty Creek. Since I also want to include a horse ranch, I need some space, and for green areas, I need water. So, the idea of building a river came naturally, which will provide fresh water and allow for lush vegetation. But before that, the terrain has to be properly adjusted, and the train tracks leading to a disused mine also need to be integrated into the whole setup before we can start working on the river. And now, let's move on to the river I mentioned earlier. At first, my plan was simply to suggest a small river that would end in a waterfall. However, I quickly realized it didn't look quite as good as I had imagined. So instead of spending a lot of time on a waterfall that might not turn out as expected, I decided to use an attraction to help create the river. By doing this, I was able to more easily design the river and make it look much more realistic in the end. It's a bit of a shortcut, but it definitely improves the overall look.